Hey guys, it's Dan, your host, your Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for another video for today. This one's going to be doing another video for the Walking Dead universe. We're going to be talking about the Walking Dead brand overall, and what are the 5 biggest mistakes that they've made over the years. Alright guys, this one's going to be doing a review today. This one's going to be doing a review for the Walking Dead universe, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the Walking Dead brand overall. We're going to talk about the 5 biggest mistakes, in my opinion, that the Walking Dead has made. So, this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a little while. I kind of sat on this one properly and really tried to think about which was the biggest mistakes that the Walking Dead did make over the last, 15 years, because the Walking Dead franchise has been a thing, at least the TV universe, has been a thing going on 15 years. A lot of things can happen in 15 years. So to break this all down, to narrow it down to 5 things that I truly believe could have been made in a better way, or things that I think that they either shouldn't have done, or things that I think that just weighed the whole thing down overall. And is half the reason, these reasons right here, why I think The Walking Dead is not as popular as it once was. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of the decisions that they made over the last few years, and which ones I think were their biggest mistakes. Now, I was going to do a top 10, but I think a top 5 is better because it really narrows it down to, in my opinion, really just 5 things that I think really messed with this brand and really messed with, the reputation of The Walking Dead overall and the future of the franchise as well, too. So, let's get into this. Number 5, in my opinion, number 5 is going to be drawing out the Saviors from Season 6, Episode 6 to Season 9, Episode 6. So, what do I mean when I say that? Well, The Saviors is a storyline in The Walking Dead that had the most promise, I think. And it started off with the biggest hype for a group of antagonists we've ever seen. Everybody was excited to see Negan. Everybody was excited to see The Saviors. Although, I do think, overall looking at it, they overstayed their welcome. The Saviors should have been something that was built up during Season 6 and should have been half of 7 building up to the war, and the second half of Season 7, the actual all-out war. I don't think the Saviors needed to be in a 8th season and to also drag on past Negan's leadership into Season 9 and have pretty much an entire other half season being antagonists with Jed and his group and stuff like that. Really drawn out, really over the top, I'd say, for a group of antagonists. And I think a lot of people watching The Walking Dead over those years got bored of the same storyline. I think, a lot of people blame it on, it's Glenn's death that made people drop off. And yes, to a degree it is, but I also feel like it's the just constant drag of the Saviors season after season. Because after a while, people want to see something different. People want to see something fresh, unique, exciting. And that's why there was so much buzz about the Whispers in Season 9, because it was finally something different that people weren't really ready for. You know what I mean? It caught people off guard, especially people that don't read the comic books. And that's why the Whispers were such a big group in the fan base, is because it was finally breaking from a 3-season arc, from the first half of Season 6 to the first half of Season 9. That's way too long for a group of antagonists, in my opinion. And I think that's a huge thing that dragged those seasons down, and it shows in the viewership, is that people got tired of the Saviors. After a while, they were like, okay, let's get to something different. And I absolutely could understand that. It was dragged on way too long. I could easily agree with those criticisms that people make about the Saviors and what they did in the story overall. I think they lasted way too long, and they should have absolutely axed them a lot sooner. It should have been a season and a half. The second half of Season 6 building up to them, and the massive 7th season where you get all that content in one season. I'm telling you, they would have been in a better place. Overall, if they would have done that, I think the story would have done a lot better, and we wouldn't have had as much filler. I really think that's how they should have formatted the story. The next one here is ending the original Walking Dead on a cliffhanger. This is a massive problem, and the main reason I say this is a massive problem is because of the state of the franchise that we're in right now. I have seen countless people that have watched the original Walking Dead that were late to the party and just recently wrapped it up, and I've gotten questions from people telling me, well, damn, what do I do after the main show is done? That clearly didn't end. I gotta see what happened to Rick. I gotta see what's going on with Daryl and where he's going. You know what I mean? That is not what you want for your TV show. And it's a horrible, horrible, constant trend that I'm seeing with television shows, where they feel the need to cliffhanger their main series to then make you watch all this extra content. That should be optional. That should be optional, not forced. And that is the biggest problem The Walking Dead did, is cliffhangering their main series, cliffhangering Rick with his muddy feet in the frickin' water, getting arrested by the CRM, thinking that that's going to satisfy everybody. And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the series finale of The Walking Dead, but it is absolutely ridiculous that they cliffhanger you to make you watch extra content. That is a cheap move, and honestly, it's gone for nothing but problems. Ever since then, we've been stuck in all these spinoffs that have, in my opinion, no direction, and at this point, I don't think they ever will. The Walking Dead cliffhangering its main series is probably one of the biggest L's I've ever seen the brand take, honestly, and especially in hindsight, seeing the direction of the franchise after a couple years, they should have never done that. They should have never, ever done that. And honestly, it has hurt them. Ending the main show on a cliffhanger, it has made things such a mess. People don't know what show to watch now, and it's a constant like, okay, you got this show to watch, you got this show to watch, you got this show to watch. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That is a huge mistake that I think they should have never, ever made. Next thing is going to be hiring Ian and Andrew to take over Fear the Walking Dead. I'm sure a lot of people could agree with me on this statement. Fear the Walking Dead, though in my opinion it was not a perfect series in its first 3 seasons, it was a genuine good show to watch, especially in its 3rd season, that I thought had some pretty good quality to it. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and act like the show was perfect, because it wasn't, but the show was genuinely pretty watchable in its first 3 seasons. Then you get the 4th to 8th season, which got so bad, that they had to hire ghostwriters in the 6th season to make it somewhat better. And you could clearly tell a writing difference in the first half of the 6th season of the show. And then when it went back to Ian and Andrew, you could tell the difference in writing. I mean, right away. You know what I mean? But Ian and Andrew are probably the worst writers I've seen step onto a writing role for a Walking Dead project. They are so bad, they don't know how to write. They easily butchered some really, really likable characters, like Victor Strand, like Daniel Salazar, like Alicia, like, Nick even. I mean, Nick honestly was a pacifist in season 4. It was pretty embarrassing. And Madison, they ruined her villain arc that, they were setting up back in the day. And Dave Erickson had a vision for the show that, though in my opinion it wasn't perfect, I think it was a good vision. You know what I mean? I think it would have done the show some good. And they had to swap it out because, of course, Dave Erickson left, which again, not a mistake for them for hiring someone new. That's not the mistake. The mistake is hiring those writers to work on your show, Ian and Andrew Chambliss. I mean, honestly, a horrible, horrible idea that ruined a show that could have been really, really interesting, as a matter of fact, that was getting interesting. And instead, they threw it out for Martha, the stick lady, for Virginia, the cowgirl, and for a nuclear fallout that you don't know how to write. Yeah, no, they really, really messed up Fear the Walking Dead. A show that, in my opinion, could have been really good, and that is a huge mistake because the show could have been a really, really cool spinoff. It really could have been. But unfortunately, here we are. Number 2 is doing away with the CRM. This right here, this decision, in my opinion, is why The Walking Dead has been tanking this year. And as a hardcore Walking Dead fan, I've seen the interest drop more than ever before after this decision right here. Doing away with the CRM, a group that you've built up to be almost what would be like your Thanos of the Walking Dead universe, or your Galactus of the Walking Dead universe, you know what I mean? And they built this up forever. They did a 2-season show called The Walking Dead World Beyond, building up this group and what they do. They built them up with a character named Jadis in the main series for a long, long time. and they built it up in Fear the Walking Dead. They had a few episodes in there. They had a lot of build-up in all of the shows, really, of the franchise. I mean, there was hints everywhere. From 2017 all the way to 2024, when they suddenly decided in a 6-episode love story that a couple, which is Rick and Michonne, they can apparently not do it by themselves. But when they're together, the power of love can take out an entire military of soldiers and completely change the entire Civic Republic. One of the worst things they've ever done. In my opinion, they should have done a 3-season trilogy of seasons of The Walking Dead: The Ones Who Live, including characters that we know and love from the franchise. I'm talking Daryl, I'm talking Morgan, I'm talking Gabriel, I'm talking a whole bunch of those characters, and bring them in and make it a massive, massive endpoint for The Walking Dead. Make The Ones Who Live the true sequel to The Walking Dead universe. You know, like they do to Dexter New Blood, except this would be a good example of that. A true example of an actual sequel to The Walking Dead to cap off this greater franchise overall. I'm telling you, they should have done it. I don't know why they didn't do it. I don't know why they wasted an actor as incredible as Terry O'Quinn, somebody that is absolutely talented and then some. I mean, he's incredible, and they didn't even use him to his full potential. Shame on them for that. Honestly, their worst thing they've ever done. Besides the number one, which I'm sure a lot of people could agree with me with, the death of Carl Grimes. Where do I even start with this one? Chandler Riggs was buying a house to go down there to live closer to the set so that he could be closer to work for The Walking Dead. Later found out that he was getting killed off. His parents were pissed. It was not part of the vision whatsoever, and the only reason it was written in, and Gimple confirmed it many, many times, is so that Rick could be convinced to spare Negan. Even though in the Walking Dead comics, Rick saves Negan's life anyway with no extra motivation. Not sure why they ever had to do that death. Not to mention, it's never been the same. Andrew Lincoln left the show not much long after, and I have a very, very sneaky suspicion that it's because of that death. And not to mention this, they tried to replace Carl many times with Henry. They tried to do a lot of things that just did not fit the charm that Chandler Riggs had on the show. And on top of that, they made him a pacifist in his final season. In season 7, he was gunning down saviors like they were nothing. In season 8, he's all about saving Negan and saving the saviors. It's ridiculous. They butchered his character and then killed him off in that same season. Unbelievable. And the show never recovered. The ratings tanked after that. And it's because they don't have that soul. They don't have that heart of the franchise anymore. You know what I mean? And when Rick Grimes left the show and Andrew Lincoln left the show, you didn't have Carl to fall back on. So it just turned into Daryl. You know what I mean? Which again, Daryl's a cool character. But think of how amazing it would have been if the legacy of Rick lived on through Carl. I think a lot of people would have enjoyed that. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, Gimple had the idea to kill Carl off. I think there's a lot of complications with this decision. I will not go over all of it now because we'd be here forever. But that is the biggest sin, I think, right there. That is the biggest mistake that The Walking Dead ever did. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What are the 5 biggest mistakes that you think The Walking Dead has done? And let me know. Do you agree with all these mistakes? At least in my opinion, do you think that these are the true things that messed up The Walking Dead? Let me know. And if you have any extra ones to add, let me know as well. Post comments down below. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy videos like this, make sure to click to subscribe and to miss any other videos with The Walking Dead. Be sure to follow me at Dan's The Walking Dead Reviews. Subscribe, guys. And of course, I'll see you guys very soon for more videos of The Walking Dead universe. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.